My name is Mike Sawyer, and I'm here to talk about taking control of the process and saving our democracy. My recent book, Finding Our True Political Center, explores the advantages of alternate voting methods. It required applying principles of game theory to understand motivational factors for both candidates and voters and how they respond when the rules change. I concluded that we, the voters, are just pawns that politicians can move at will. Rules are incorporated into laws and norms. Changing laws is hard and slow, but changing norms, as the Republican Party has demonstrated, is easy and quick. And I think it is a way for us to assert ourselves and take control of the chessboard. In this presentation, I hope to lay the foundation for a strategy I call good mischief and how it can save our democracy. Now, maybe you are a Democratic voter hoping your party will retain control of the House and the Senate in 2022. You might be an independent voter wondering what you can do to protect our democracy. Or even a once loyal Republican like me who is fed up with Trump and QAnon. For all of us, there is one very powerful thing we can do for our country. According to CNN, the 10 House Republicans who voted to impeach Trump for inciting the January 6th insurrection are fully aware that the former president and his acolytes are determined to kick them out of their seats from South Carolina to California. Between April and June, all 10 raised more money than their primary foes. Despite this glimmer of hope, I wouldn't be surprised to see all 10 of them lose in the primary. If we all just sit on our hands, that's exactly what's going to happen. I ask instead that regardless of your current party affiliation, raise your hands at your GOP primary. The strategy known as rating is nothing new. Register to vote in the opposing party's primary and cast your vote for the weakest candidate. This strategy can be quite effective when carried out as a team effort. The key is coordination and getting everyone on the same page. Now, this may seem like mischief, but it is the exact same mischief we see from every political party, PAC, and caucus. In a similar form, this same strategy can be thought of as hedging a bet. If a Democrat doesn't win the election, then make your vote count by selecting the most compatible Republican. But I like to think of it as doing what's best for the future of both parties and ultimately for the country. Whatever your motivation, we can all pull together. But why not just protest instead? Well, you won't have to travel to an unfamiliar city, and there's no law against being registered as a Republican, even if you think there should be. So it's unlikely you will get arrested. And there's no effective defense against this strategy. Also, you will get tangible and immediate results, whether this means changing the outcome of the primary or diminishing the force of the win. By working together, have leverage for negotiation, and this means persuading candidates to cooperate rather than forcing them to react. Casting votes for GOP incumbents in the 10 primaries where Trump has endorsed a challenger can make a big difference. If most or all of these 10 candidates emerge victorious, it will signal the Republicans in Congress that they may actually vote their conscience without losing their seats. And remember, Trump has declared them all as enemies of the party, so my guess is his loyal base will not be so anxious to vote for them in the general election. And frankly, Trump will not encourage them to do so. Since you are free to then vote for the Democratic nominee in the general, these are 10 good chances to pick up a seat. Now, most of you don't live in one of these 10 congressional districts, but there's so much more important work for the rest of us to do. Fox News has called for the party to also primary those Republicans who support the infrastructure bill. Right now, that's looking like it might be as much as 1/3 of the Republicans in both houses. So I really don't expect that to happen. But either way, Fox has drawn a dividing line in the party that can only help our cause. In fact, you may have many different priorities to choose from, and local leadership is needed to help decide what's right for your state. In state and federal GOP primaries, we could defeat Trump's pick for the GOP nominee. We could throw our support behind more moderate candidates. We could advance progressive platform proposals. We can encourage moderates to run and stay in the race. We can get candidates to pledge not to overturn the election, and we can find members within your group willing to run. Now, this may seem a little fanciful, but imagine a GOP primary race with an alt-right candidate and 2 or 3 moderates who will simply split the moderate votes. We have 25 or 50,000 eligible voters in the state committed to following our lead. We offered to endorse one of these moderates and commit our voters if the candidate will publicly pledge not to support any new voting restrictions. Otherwise, we will make a deal with another candidate or find someone willing to run who will do that. Importantly, when we do endorse, we publicize the number of votes we are committing. This will inspire other voters who oppose the alt-right candidate to move their support to our candidate as the best hope for defeating the alt-right candidate. Even as I speak, the GOP is setting the stage for in 6 key states to overturn the results of the 2024 election, and this trend may soon extend to other states. Our most critical job may be to make it known that we can deliver a substantial number of votes in the 2022 GOP midterm primaries to candidates running for seats in the state legislatures. Local groups can conditions to receive our support, but in many states something like this would be appropriate. They must publicly pledge never to vote to overturn of an election. I want you to remember there's nothing sacred about a party membership card, and there's nothing disloyal about using your primary vote where it does the most good. You may feel obligated to attend your traditional primary, but the time has come for breaking norms and breaking with tradition. The future of American democracy is at stake. Now, why do I think we can succeed? Well, midterm primaries typically have a very low turnout. So if just half the Democrats who attended the Democratic primaries in 2020 show up at the GOP primaries in 2022, we could outnumber Republicans. If a few independents and disaffected Republicans join in, our prospects look pretty good. I would like to open this topic for broader discussion, and for the record, I have no personal stake in the outcome, and I do not seek a leadership role in this project. Like so many of you, I was drawn into this fight. Please share your thoughts on this site. Some questions you might want to think about is this the sort of thing a voting rights organization like Represent Us might be willing to take the ball and run with it? Or would it be more effective as a standalone project? How should it be organized? Will voters believe in this strategy? Will they be willing to participate? How can we make our pledge to deliver votes more credible? How might the Republican Party react to such an affront? Can we influence who chooses to run? Will candidates cede to our demands? And what is the long-term impact of the two-party system? I know the idea of voting in each other's primaries kind of turns the two-party concept upside down. It creates many small voting blocks at the grassroots level that are not necessarily devoted to following the party line. It encourages both moderation and diversity of thought. With time and repetition, it will move the party itself to a better place. And I will leave you with the following quote from John Adams, and a little thought as to how you think about the two-party system. The greatest political evil under our Constitution. These are the words of John Adams in a letter written in 1780, 7 years before our present Constitution was ratified. He said, "There is nothing I dread so much as a division of the Republic into two great parties, each arranged under its leader and concerting measures in opposition to each other. This, in my humble opinion, humble apprehension, is to be dreaded as the greatest political evil under our Constitution."